Hi guys, welcome back to the UK and Ireland tour. My name is Chris, aka Big Will, and today we have our transfer special with Hibernian, and we have our opening league game of the season at home against Ross County. As you can see, we've played a number of fixtures already throughout the course of pre-season, with a number of friendlies in the early stages. We also had the Viaplay Cup qualification. So from what I can gather, the Viaplay Cup is like a league cup, and we played very, very well in it for the most part, but we had one game against Dunfermline. We lost by a goal to nil. We deserved to win the game comfortably, but we just couldn't find the back of the net. But in the end, we did manage to qualify anyway, even though we finished second in the group. And we've also had our first Europa Conference League qualifiers, sorry. And we played ZTE Football Club, who are based in Hungary, and we won 2-1 in the home leg and 4-1 in the away leg. So we've not done too bad, and I'm reasonably happy with the way things are going so far at the start of the campaign. Obviously, in terms of the fixtures that we have played teams that not probably the quality of most of the teams in our league, but we've had to go out there and get the results anyway. The Hungarian side, arguably the toughest fixture that we've had, despite the fact that we got beat by Dunfermline. And going into this league game, I'm hopeful that there won't be a bit of a hangover from playing easier teams in the cup. Um, you will have to bear with me. I have recorded quite a way in advance, so when you're seeing this, I'm a couple of weeks ahead anyway. But I haven't actually opened up the game for a couple of weeks, so I've been familiarising myself with everything that's been going on. And let's get into the transfers. So, currently, one thing that is underway is Keelan Seeger. He could be going out on a season-long loan. He's under two offers from Dundee United and Falkirk. Hopefully, he can get some regular game time in there. Based on the end of last season, you were aware, I think, of Lewis Mullen. He arrived back in on loan for Manchester City after completing a permanent move away from the club for £9.75 million, and we've got him on loan for free for the season. So I think it's a very good piece of business. It's not costing us anything, and we made nearly £10 million from it. Sahid Olagunju, who was a reserve, he went to Queen of the South on a free transfer, and we brought in Max Johnston as our new right back. He has come in on a was it a free transfer? Yes, it was a free transfer from Sturm Graz. I think he's a good quality right wing back. He's got a good amount of pace and physical attributes about him. Defensive attributes, not the most ideal. His marking is a little bit wayward, but decent tackler of the ball, and his mental attributes do seem quite strong as well. So again, a really good option for us in at right back. So in terms of business in and out over the course of July, it's been a bit of an awkward one. Um, because we've qualified for the Conference League, obviously we've had to be wary of the squad registration rules, and we've had to do things very, very carefully. And we are struggling to offload one or two reserve players at the moment. There's a number of players transfer listed, but again, it's going to be something that we'll manage carefully. And if some of our big players leave within the next month, because obviously we are only at the start of August, then we might end up making more signings before the end of the window. So in terms of players that have left the club, Luke McCowan has gone to Dunfermline Athletic on a free transfer. Again, he wasn't really featuring too much. He's worth a lot more than that. We tried to sell him for money. No one was interested. So we just let him go for free. He wasn't being used, and it made sense. Lewis Miller, who was a wing back at the club, could play either side. We've sold him to Damac for £4.8 million. Owen Otasawi didn't really want to get rid of him. He was a very solid player for us last season. He has gone to Al Ettifaq for £6 million. Barclay Nish has gone to Preston for £1.5 million. And again, it was a bit of an awkward one. I wanted to keep him, but he can play right wing back, but not at right back, and also in attacking midfield. And again, we didn't use either of those positions, so it made sense for us to sell him. And again, we got £1.5 million for that deal. Jack Kingdom went to Oxford United. Again, it was a relatively cheap deal. Again, he wasn't really playing. So we cashed in on him just for 58,000. Divine Mikasa has gone to Middlesbrough on a season-long loan for £94,000. Christopher Owusu has gone to Birmingham on loan for the season for £215,000. And then Alexander Azevedo went to, who did he go to again? Legia Warsaw in Poland on a season-long loan for £1.1 million. A really good fee for him on that loan deal. And it's meant that obviously it has freed up quite a bit of money for us to spend and wage budget as well. So we've made about £14 million so far in this transfer window, and we've not spent any of it, but our transfer revenue retainment is still very, very poor. The club are still being very, very careful from a financial perspective. So in terms of free transfers coming in, it's largely where we've focused on. 5 of them we've managed to bring in. Ryan Phillips was the first one, free transfer from Chelsea, a 21-year-old under-19 former international for England. Again, I quite like him. He's 6'2", good determined character. Concentration not quite where it should be, but positional play as in the goal, as well as his actual goalkeeping attributes, don't seem to be too bad. So again, could be a player that grows into the role. And he was followed by Gaz Hickling again from Chelsea. Really happy to have brought him in. He's a very good-looking left-back, to be honest, despite that hairstyle. Very determined character, excellent mental attributes, decent physical attributes, and defensive attributes as well do seem quite good. Can also play in defensive midfield, incidentally, which is a position I do still want to strengthen in. But it is proving difficult because, like I say, with the squad registration, we would have to sell somebody before we bring someone in to fill that area. Serigne Diop has come in on a free transfer, a very good centre-back. He's 19 years of age, very good physical attributes, very good mental attributes, decent technical attributes for the defender as well. 6 foot tall, so he's not the tallest, but again, I couldn't resist bringing him in. He's a very, very good young centre-back, and I'm looking forward to having him in the squad. He can play at right-back as well, but he is largely going to be coming in at centre-back. Jalalit Laib, an Algerian under-20 international, has come in on a free transfer. Right winger, very good amount of physical attributes with his pace, and very exciting type player. Good teamwork, good work rate, good flair and determination, and technical attributes. Again, wanting a little bit in certain areas, but he's a good passer of the ball, really good technique. He's a free kick taker, and he's got very good ability in his crossing and corner taking abilities as well. And lastly, Valeriano Albanese. Again, a lot of pace about him for that left-hand side. That's largely where we're going to play him at left wing. Determination isn't where I want it to be, but he's an exciting type player, again, with decent amount of flair and work rate, good passing ability and technique, and a good dribbler as well. And hopefully he will also come good for us. Another young player in, and it's brought the average age of the squad down a bit, signing these players. Really happy with the players in. We've made a lot of money with the players that wanted to leave as well, and there could still be more outgoings as the window goes on. So overall, we've got a squad of 26 players. So Jack Wint is the only player that's not been registered in the squad. He's a better goalkeeper than Murray Johnson, but Murray Johnson is homegrown at club, so we've had to keep him here and get him registered in the squad for Europe. So overall, I'm really happy. And in terms of the squad planner, again, we're looking pretty decent. In terms of goalkeeper, Ryan Phillips will largely be the starting goalkeeper. Jack Wynn, a very capable backup, and Murray Johnson will be the emergency goalkeeper. Left back, we've got Luke Messam and Gaz Hickling, 2 very similar players, both with very similar qualities. We've got 2 good options in there. Centre back with the likes of Stephen Walsh, Kohler, Morrison, Ron, and Diop. We're looking pretty strong in there. A couple of reserves that we've got transfer listed as well. Obviously, in terms of defensive midfield, we are looking at filling that void a little bit. Liam Morrison is a player that we are considering putting into that position because he's just as good there as he is at centre back. But then we still have 4 very good centre backs available to us. At right back, Diop can actually play out there as well, and with his decent amount of pace, he is more than capable of playing out there. But we have got Rafino Lucero and Max Johnston who can fight for a starting spot on that right-hand side anyway. And Welsh, again, he can move out to that right-hand side as well. So again, we've got options two out-and-out right-backs with a couple of backups in there. Defensive midfield, as I mentioned before, Liam Morrison is largely going to be the starter in that position. Gaz Hickling can also play in there as well, but with Hickling and Messam being our two left-backs, Morrison is going to be the standout player in there. Our other midfielder's not really capable of playing in that role, so a defensive midfielder is something we're in the market for. But again, we'll have to sell someone before we can bring someone in for that role, largely because of that European squad registration. I mean, if we get knocked out in Europe, then it doesn't matter. But at the same time, we don't want to be upsetting anybody when we've got a very long season ahead. Central midfield, perfectly happy with Dylan Levitt, Mohamed Diamande, Jack Fletcher, and Brad Gunn. Nathan Summers as well. We've got as our fifth choice. And obviously, we've loaned out Mikasa. Vasquez is capable of playing in central midfield, as we've seen last season. We've got a few players transfer listed there as well. And again, they can play in both roles, all of these midfield players. So again, we've got the quality in there. 4 or 5 central midfield options, perfectly fine in that position. In terms of right wing, we're looking at Jalali Laib. He's had a very good pre-season. But we've also got the likes of Dean Martin and Mark Dunn. Eli Yuan and Paddy Lane largely going to be on the left-hand side, finding it out with Albanese. So we've got 3 strong left wingers and 3 strong right wingers. And again, I think we've done very well. Saib is someone that we've got transfer listed. He didn't really hit the ground running like I wanted him to, so he is going to be leaving hopefully in this transfer window if we can get that interest. Diamandi as well as an option to play out wide. He's just as good out there as he's in central midfield. So again, it's something that we can keep an eye on. And then up front, obviously, Yuan and Martin probably spoken for out wide. We've got Vasquez, we've got Mullen who's loaned in, and we've got Aguado. So again, plenty of options in there. And Dunn, again, he's also spoken for on that right-hand side. But plenty of rotational options, and that's why we're loaning out Seager. And if we can get the players sold that we want to, I think we'll do quite well this season. They're all in the reserves anyway. And yes, we're spending a little bit of money on them, but we've got potential this year. Target really is to just qualify for Europe. Celtic and Rangers are realistically going to be the better sides, and they are the targets that we need to try and reach. I don't think we will do this season, but who knows? A couple of good results here and there, we might find ourselves competing. Hopefully, starting today. So going into this game against Ross County, I'm hoping we can get the result that we're after. It isn't going to be easy. It never is. But we certainly have the options there. Phillips is going to start in goal with Messam, Diop, Ron and Lucero at the back. Summers, Fletcher and Gunn in central midfield with Albanese, Lane and Mullen as the front 3. I'd rather have Vasquez up front, to be honest, but this is how we're looking at the minute. If we switch it around a little bit, I mean, Diamande isn't fully fit, so I can understand his lack of inclusion. Morrison is actually going to come in at defensive midfield now. But I think realistically, I think we'll probably have to play Fletcher in there today just because of the fitness concern for Diamande. Gaz Hickling takes his place on the bench, and Vasquez will remain on the bench as well, with Mullen making the start. So let's see how we get on here, and fingers crossed we can get off to a very positive result and start here in the Scottish Premier League. Incidentally, I've already thought about the next episode. Our next match is our European qualifier against Olympia, a Slovenian team. So we're probably going to come straight back for the next match and get both legs of that Conference League qualifier into tomorrow's episode. So we're not going to go too far ahead. Obviously, any updates transfer-wise, we will also go through as well. But let's get full focus on this league game and see if we can get the 3 points on the board to start the season. And early stages would suggest that it could be a little bit of a tight one today. Anang here launching it forward for Ross County. It's a good header, but in fact it was quite a poor header. Shaparenko picks it up and finds Isaka, who comes down the left-hand side here, tries to get it into the penalty area, lays it back. It's a poor pass and Paddy Lane does well. to intercept and find Lucero. Back to Paddy Lane. Now Phillips. We've done well to play it out there, really, but Ross County didn't really keep the pressure on as Fletcher finds Albanese. Incidentally, all the new signings have done quite well in the Viaplay Cup because we got the business done early. They have played a few games in the squad now as well, which has certainly helped out. Morrison into lane, couldn't quite get the pass in, and Mullen with the strike. Mullen with an early yellow card to his name as well, incidentally, and the shot was off target. So not a best of starts, but we'll see how things go. Morrison there with the header, and he did well to get there ahead of the goalkeeper, but again, just off target. And this is something we're going to have to be careful with. We need to really knuckle down. We need to get our attempts on target. And again, in the game against Dunfermline, we weren't 1-0 down. And we had so many attempts at goal, but we just couldn't find the finish. And I'm hopeful that it's not going to be the case throughout the season. Here is Messam into Morrison. Just holds on to it, lays back to Diop. And now Fletcher into Messam. Back to Albanese. And he does well fighting for it. But again, he didn't really have too much support there as he received the pass on that left-hand side. Messam doing well to intercept ahead of Henderson. Chance to get down this left-hand side. Can he get a cross in? He does. He beats his man really well. Crosses it in. Lane is there at the far post and he smashed it in on the volley. Henry completely missed the intercepting header. And Lane with an emphatic finish. He was a player that I was thinking about selling as well, to be fair, Paddy Lane. Don't get me wrong, he's certainly good enough to play regularly in this team. But I'm not quite sure of his role in the squad. He can play left-hand side or right-hand side, and he's good to have around the squad. But it's a funny one with him for me. He's not an out-and-out attacker either, so I'm a little bit in betwixt and in between with him, but it's a very good finish from him there. And the other thing as well, his valuation, we could probably get between 10 and 15 million pounds for him, which, again, from a financial perspective, it'd certainly set the club up for a year or two, I would have thought. We take a 1-0 lead in at half-time. Ross County probably might feel a little bit hard done by. In terms of the XG, we are ahead. But they've had 3 attempts on target out of their 4 at goal. We've had the 1 attempt in 5. Possession-wise, though, we are looking pretty dominant. So we're not doing too badly. We'll remind the lads not to get complacent. It's important that we go out there and get the result that we need today. But so far, so good. We can be reasonably pleased with the performance. But again, just need to fine-tune our attacking mentality a little bit as Messam gives the ball away. Henderson back to Rainey and now Latore. Messam on a yellow card as well, I've just noticed as well. So we may have to make some changes at some point in this second half, potentially sooner rather than later. We don't want to be risking any red cards. Here is Paddy Lane into Morrison and now Fletcher into Albanese. Coming down that left-hand side, chance to get it into the penalty area. He has got support. He lays it back to Messam and he loses out to Henderson. And Messam is tracking back and doing quite well. But I'm frightened that he's going to lunge in here and he doesn't, luckily. And Henderson in the end plays it back to Kars. And now Shaparenko into Isaka, who wins it off Lucero. And it's a deserved equaliser, really, from Ross County. They're back in it. And I think Messam's yellow card, unfortunately, meant that he couldn't put that challenge in. It's a deserved equaliser from Ross County. Hopefully we can get back ahead relatively quickly. Fletcher here with a free kick. Launches it into the penalty area. Morrison was there trying to win the header. It's come for Albanese. Coming down that right-hand side. He plays it into Lucero, who's in space. And it's taken a huge deflection off Lawrence, I think it was, and come back off the crossbar. And in the end, it remains 1 apiece as we approach the hour mark. We're just going to pause there for a moment. And we're going to take Mullen off. He's been very ineffective today. Hector Vazquez can come on up front. Messam on that yellow card will take him off for Gaz Hickling. And in terms of midfield, Fletcher really doing too much in that central midfield. So we'll get Diamandi on for a little bit of game time. He is carrying a knock still after a pre-season injury, but hopefully he will do well to get a little bit of fitness in his legs. And I mean, we've got the option of 2 more substitutions, but I think we'll just leave it at that for now. And hopefully we can push on a little bit. I think we'll demand more, to be honest. I mean, Ross County are a team that, we need to be beating every team in this league to feel like we're making progression. Obviously, Rangers and Celtic, we know, are going to be tough games. We're just going to pause there again. Albanese has taken a knock, so he's going to have to come off. We haven't really got too many options. I mean, Paddy Lane's struggling as well. We'll move Diamandi out wide. We'll get Summers on in central midfield. I do like Nathan Summers. I mean, he's a good young player to have around the place, and he is starting to get into a bit of a rhythm with his game time at the moment. Paddy Lane also struggling fitness-wise. He's had a good performance. We'll get Laib on for his league debut. And we'll see if we can find a winner here. Overall, we've had twice as many attempts at goal, but still less in terms of shots on target. And again, it is just a little bit of a concern that we're not looking like we're going to be converting a lot of chances this season. Morrison here into Lachero. That's a good delivery, and Diamandi's there. Vasquez is there. Neither of them could really get there. It's fallen for Gaz Hickling, and Hickling has scored on his league debut. It's a good finish from the left back. And in the 88th minute here, we take the lead, and it looks like we might have just stolen away with the 3 points. We just couldn't quite win the header there between Vasquez and Diamande, but it fell for Hickling. The player that was marking Hickling didn't even react to the run that he made into the penalty area. And the former Chelsea man scores on his debut, and with 6 minutes of added on time here, can we hold on for the victory? Diamande with a delivery toward that far post. And there is Liam Morrison. He's had a very good game, incidentally, actually, in defensive midfield today. That's a very good finish. It's a 3-1 lead now with a couple of minutes to go. It's a good delivery into the penalty area from Diamande. And Morrison and Rawdon were both there challenging for it. Both of them very aerially aggressive. And we noticed that with Rawdon, of course, while we were at Crusaders as well. But that is a very good result for us. Overall, we deserved it, looking at the number of chances. Majority of possession went our way as well. And we've just about edged it in the end after converting those 2 goals right at the end of the match. It's a good 3 points to kick off the season. And obviously following on from our good start in the Viaplay Cup and in the European qualifiers as well. So we'll certainly take it for what it is. It's only the first league game of the season. We've done well. We've just released a few youth players who don't really amount to much. And we can be very happy with that result. So going forward, as I mentioned, we have that European qualifier. It's the 3rd qualifying round. We're against Olympia, who are a Slovenian side from the top league. And it could be a tough game. I'm not too sure of the quality in the Slovenian league. Obviously, we haven't got it loaded either, so I'm not too sure on their recent history. I think we'll just have a quick look. They've actually won the Slovenian Cup a couple of times in recent years. So, you know, there's... they've won the league before as well, but they're used to winning trophies, put it that way. So it could be a very interesting match. I'm just noticed as well down in the icons section here. Andras Sporar is a name I recognise, a former player of theirs. And more importantly, Jan Oblak, the goalkeeper at Atletico Madrid, former player of them as well. So they've had some very good players in the past. It could be a very tough one to get through, but hopefully we can find a way of doing so. And that will be coming up tomorrow. So until then, guys, thank you very much for your support. Please like, subscribe to the channel. It is all greatly appreciated. I will see you all next time. This is Big Will, signing away.